Yo! It's the time for one massive package from China! Let's go! Hey guys, welcome! Back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the new 2-player arcade machine, or Bartop basically. It's not like an arcade machine, it's an arcade machine, Bartop, that we're going to review today. Because I'm really curious, this is the first time I ever bought a 2-player version. And the question remains, is this thing big enough? Because it was expensive enough. Because that's the main problem with these Chinese, let's say, Bartop's arcade machines. They're like super expensive to buy. But is this thing worth your money? So that's what we're going to find out today. The packaging itself is very nice. So I'm guessing this thing will come here in good condition. It will be very nice. Otherwise it would be a waste of money. Ooh. There is nothing in here. Ooh. Okay guys, I was just joking of course, because there is something inside. And this is more like a semi-DIY. And I'm just going to be honest, I didn't even know myself, because I'm going to do this unboxing together with you. So how is it with the quality? I already can see some issues over here. You can see the wood. The T-molding seems to be looking very nice. So, okay, that will give it a pass. There is no damage whatsoever. And in here we're going to get the arcade machine itself. And it seems to be like it is made partially out of metal. So the first impression is like, it looks very nice. Looks very durable. But the question remains, how far do we need to assemble and disassemble this freaking thing to get it working? Okay guys, so this is what we're going to get inside the package. Already shown you the side panels. We're also going to get a black metal back part. Then we're going to get ourselves the HDMI cable. Then we're going to get ourselves the, I think it's a quite huge one. This is a 5 amp. Yeah, it's a 5 amp charger. This the double of the amps that we're normally going to get. The cable, the coins, because this thing has a coin mechanism inside. Then we're going to get ourselves some spare buttons and the screwdriver to put it back together. And we're going to get all the bolts over here, and then we're going to get ourselves the basic manual that we're going to need if we want to reconfigure some things in the Pandora's box. Okay, so here we're going to get the both parts that we need to assemble. It's like a freaking tiny IKEA furniture package, and everything is made out of metal. I personally really like it. It's quite surprisingly, because you would say like normally an arcade machine is made out of freaking wood and plastic, but not this time. But basically putting this thing together is quite genius. So first of all we're going to get is the control panel. You can almost say like this is a tiny Pandora's box. Then we're going to get ourselves the back panel, of course also including the 18-inch monitor. Here at the bottom we can see the 2 speakers. Then we're going to get here the buttons for on and off, auto and navigation for the LCD display itself, and of course the on and off switch. We need to connect everything over here with the cables that come out here. But when you're looking at the way how you need to put together, it's very simple, because basically the 2 side panels will hold these 2 parts together and make it one awesome, or we hope it's awesome, mini arcade machine. But let's take a close look at the control panel first, because I want to also do a quick teardown and take a close look at the main board, because everything needs to be connected in here. So that's basically how it works. So you can see like it's a very big gap. What I love about this is just basically you can just easily like replace it with a different Pandora's box if you don't like this one. So there's no modification done what you have seen with the portable versions, because with the portable version they did some like say resoldering of the VGA port, and mostly that's a big issue because you cannot replace the main board fairly easy. The only thing you need to do is removing these screws at the front and the back. You can lift open the panel itself, and that's what I like about this. You can just very easily replace the buttons and the joystick. This is semi-clone, so this is like very easy to remove. Also they're using the old school like cable 3, what I really love about it, because some of the new models will have a PCB with ribbon cables. I'm not a big fan of those. So let's rip this thing apart. The only thing, they glued the on and off switch in here, but it's not a big of a deal. We can just plug out this bad boy. And we're just going to tear down, and let's take a close look at the main board itself. Alright, so let's do a quick tear down. So take consideration, if you're going to buy an upgrade, you just need to get one with an, let's say, plastic case. I think most of the sellers will have it like this, and you can just replace it. It's plug and play. It's like the most easy way to upgrade. So that is something I really like about these Pandora box arcade machines. They can just like buy a new one, slap it in. Maybe there's a reconfiguration of the controls, or something I always try to mention, forget to mention. But like it's super easy all to do. You can switch out things fairly easy. You know they have like a lot of tinkering, and some of these boards even have support for Pandora, so you can upgrade it there. So, but let's take a close look in here. What are we going to get? Because there's always like a big surprise. Because when you look at this model, this is the old school Pandora game 3D that I've reviewed some time ago. and they are still using this in the full size arcade machine. Alright, so let's do a quick teardown over here. We're going to get an active fan. So with the latest models, or better said like the newer models, there's sometimes like having this L form like PCB, or just like having very tiny passive cooling. I don't like it at all. So it's very good to see that they're still using quality coolers on this one, because you're just going to need it. I'm just going to be honest with you, these things can get really hot. So let's get myself some tools, let's remove it. The only thing you need to do is like squeeze in these pins. Oh, the first one did work. Let's see if we can do the second one without the tool. Oh yeah, that worked very fine. Let's remove the fan. Also the fan is quite easy to remove. Let's remove the pin itself. Alright. Alright, so let's see what we're going to get in the spec list, because that is quite interesting here. Or interesting, it's not on downgrade like normally. We're going to get the AIM-Logic S812B. So basically this is a quite interesting quad-core CPU. It's not like the latest model, but still like a very fancy one. Here we're going to get a couple of RAM chips, 4 of them. Like I did even see like with some Pandora's box, we're only going to get 1. Sometimes like 1 GB. I don't know exactly how much it is. I think this is a 2 GB model. Don't pay me on it. Alright, so step 1, let's basically connect everything that we're going to need. So then we're going to get the 4-pin over here, the USB connection, the audio, the power in, and of course the VGA. But it's a little bit of a bummer they're using VGA on the LCD panel. I think VGA is not really bad, but would be better if using like an HDMI connection for a better, crisp and clear signal. But okay, so this is basically what we're going to get now. Okay, but if you're having issues with the USB, what you need to do is plug it into the bottom part, because the other port is not enabled for USB connectivity like with the controllers. So this is the idea, is you're putting the side panel on, and you will basically put all the bolts on that comes with it, and that will attach the 2 parts together. But when you're going to get DIY kits, sometimes they mess it up. And the reason why, because here you can see they basically send me the same panel twice. And that explains why there were no panels at the top. I think there was something wrong in the factory. A little bit of a bummer, so I'm going to contact the seller if he can send me some replacement parts, because this is really bad. I think I can finish the build, but I'm going to have like 2 holes in my freaking machine and only 1 coin machine. Or mechanism. So yeah, that's like the stuff that happens all the time. Let me know in the comments, do you have stuff like this? Sometimes so frustrating. Okay, so I finished the build, and let's take a close look in here. So what I find quite fascinating, that they do have some options for an HDMI connectivity. And the reason why, what I understand of, is like they have the option to basically like plug in an external device and use it like that. So that's probably quite interesting. Then we're going to get ourselves the converter in here that converts to the right voltage that goes to the mainboard of the PCB, or the PCB of mainboard for the monitor itself. Then we're going to get ourselves the coin mechanism over here. And then do we have the option, I will get the key, and basically we can get into this compartment. So this is basically the thing that we're going to get in the back. So let's close up with the piece of metal that we're going to get over here. And let's close it up. Okay, so let's take a close look at the controls. They only came with, this thing came with 1 key. So far I can see. Yeah, it was only 1 key and a lot of coins. Freaking cheapskates. Then we're going to get ourselves the joystick. It's your typical Samba clone. The freaking buttons. With the plastic that we need to remove, otherwise we're going to get sticky freaking buttons at the freaking gameplay. Over here we're going to get the start button for player 1, then we're going to get a start button for player 2 of course, and both have the option for having coin, and this is, as I'm saying it like correctly, the return button or the pause for getting into the main menu, especially for the people who really enjoy this. So the first impression I'm having with the device, that is a very compact, let's say, arcade machine. And I mean by compact because this thing doesn't have like a huge screen, but when you're looking at the size or the comparison with a normal Pandora's box, you're going to get really squeezed together because there's not a lot of space between player 1 and player 2. I wouldn't say there's going to be like a big of an issue, but beside that point, yeah, that's something I just need to point out. Another thing I do like about this arcade machine, that we're going to get a very nice panel. It's not an IPS panel, but it does have a very good viewing angle. But how does it work with the coin mechanism? It's kind of weird if you ask me. So this device has been made for basically use for normal, like free play. but also with this coin button that makes the function of the coin mechanism at the side a little bit pointless. And why pointless, you ask? It's very simple, because when you're pressing the button, you're going to enter a credit. That's it. Like, it's still on free play at the moment. Of course, here I want to show you that the coin mechanism does work. See, here I have the same plopping sound, but you need to disable the button internally, otherwise people can just add a credit this way. But let's take a close look at the menu for the people who have never seen a Pandora game 3D. In my opinion, it's one of the best interfaces when it comes to, let's say, menu designs. And why is that? It is quite simple, my friends. Because here we're going to get the all list, and no, the all is not the best thing. So let's press the start button. Here we're going to get categories. So here you can see that you can play a lot of different kind of style of games. Think about 8-bit, 16-bit, Game Boys, like Mega Drive, 16-bit. A lot of great stuff you can play with it, add games to it. And if you are lucky, you can even add some Pandora to it and like maybe unlock this thing for its more potential. You have in the recent list, and the search function is also possible. And that's the reason why I personally really love it. Alright, so there was also the settings, and yeah, settings is almost impossible to basically reach because it's underneath here. But then we're going to get the hole at the back, because you can stick your hand in it. Okay, so here we're going to get some information regarding the machine itself. The way how you can exit, for example, you can do a lot of modifications and even having entered the game market. That's what a Wi-Fi capability is for, but I can tell you like, it's pretty damn pointless because it doesn't work at all, or I personally just hate it. Then we're going to get image optimization, this is off. We're going to get HD and we're going to get scan line, but there is no, let's say, change here, so that we don't have any aspect ratio options over here. But if you want to have an aspect ratio 4:3, we do have the option to squeeze it back into this with, of course, the menu over here. I think it's pretty damn handy that you can just change it out in here. Here you can choose all kinds of information. You can even adjust the brightness if you don't like that. As you can see over here, it runs on 1280 by 720, 60 Hertz. But I'm going to, for this part, I just want to put it basically on the 6:9 aspect ratio and just go that way. And go the way back in. Yep, click on here and put it back. Here are some different options for optimizing the widescreen, and that's it. Auto, again, just go out of it, and that's it. Okay, so let's start with PlayStation Portable. So PlayStation Portable is not running optimal. You can already hear like it's stuttering, it's like running on frame skip, absolutely. But the games that are on here do have some interesting options. For example, the 2-player mode, you press play 2 and it starts into a weird emulated versus mode. Pretty damn cool. But some of the games, even despite they're running on not, let's say, the best performance, they're still playable. The ultimate test for me, Mortal Kombat 1, of course. Time for you, Sabi Wappy. But what I do like about this Pandora Game 3D board, they have the option to play this game, because this is like a couple of boards that do have the option to play Mortal Kombat 1, because they're just having like enough juice when it comes to the performance. What? I just shoot through her. What the hell is going on? Freeze. Another weird problem I'm having with these Pandora Games 3D is like the save functionality. It doesn't work with every single main game. It does work with Blood Bros, that's pretty damn awesome. Let's try some Blood Bros because I just want to see how good it actually is. Oh freaking hell, I just closed it! Brain fart! But so far I can hear every sound effect is here. So that's great, man. It's great to hear. Because that is like an issue with some of these Pandora game systems. Okay, so when it comes to some systems like N64, always N64, they will have problems. Yeah, but there are some games that are playable. So that is pretty damn cool. But I think it's just more like a mixed feeling when it comes to N64 in general. And this is one of the great examples that the game that actually works very well. But when you're looking at like Cruise USA, Cohenstein, they all still have like the same issues whatsoever. This game is quite difficult to play with a freaking arcade stick, I can tell you that. Another system runs basically barely on this, or barely, like it will have some issues. This was pushing this mainboard to the limit. Of course, it's Sega Dreamcast with some Dead Alive 2. And I think it's cool that they put it on here, and it's even like in the original aspect ratio 4:3. So if you're going to put a monitor in 4:3 and you're going to play this system, it's going to be like looking all messed up. So there's a little bit of a bummer in my opinion. The games are playable, but they're not perfect.
Get ready, fly!
But the overall performance for this low power board is not bad at all. Okay guys, so I was very excited to get this in my Wicked Studio because it's very simple. Like, I have never basically gotten a 2-player arcade machine from AliExpress because they are like freaking expensive to get, mainly the shipping. But this, let's say, seller got some warehouses in Europe, so they were like a little bit cheaper to send to me, and that's the reason I basically picked it up. But let's start with the marquee, something I was not a big fan of. Okay, I tried to record it, and I think you can see it on the camera. It's like, this thing is all freaking scratched up. Look at this, like, it's freaking hideous. This was a brand new device. It doesn't even like light up, so what's the point of this marquee in my opinion? I think nothing. The display itself, I personally really love it. Like, it looks very nice. It's a little bit of under using VGA signal, but in the end, like, you don't really notice it. But yeah, I think they did an amazing job with this. It's only an 80-inch or something like that. So when you're looking at the control panel, you can see that there's not a lot of place between play 1 and play 2. But what the positive side about this is that we're going to get a very compact design when it comes to a 2-player arcade machine. Okay, so another thing I didn't really like were the buttons. Like you see, like the wiggle buttons are here, long travel, they will do the job. But I personally prefer like different brands, at least Senwa to be honest, especially when you're paying a lot of money for a device like this. I don't want to be super negative, but there was one thing I noticed that I think it's not okay. When you're looking over here, this is just what we call a quality issue. They bumped it in the factory and they just put some paint over it. And for the money you're paying for this, there's absolutely a no-go when it comes to quality of the case. But okay guys, I want to thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this? What do you think of the price and the quality? And it would be great to see you in the next video. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family. And it would be cool to see you in the next one. Yeah.